Welcome back. In previous session, we discussed about these post and lastly, we discussed about plate tectonics. So, I told you that it was the mental convectional current between the continental plates and the oceanic. We have to see when there is an interaction among these plates. So, what kind of changes will appear on this? Now, here you will have a more clarity regarding the vertical, or let's say mountain building as well as continental building, important as forces or factors specific. So till now we discussed that the mental convectional current theory led to the interaction of plate, continental, etc. And it is because of that interaction have volcanoes, we have earthquakes, have so many phenomena on our Earth surface. And based on, or let's say while looking on the pattern of earthquake, volcano, and all those phenomena, can say that yes, this theory of plate tectonics. Let's have a deep dive. And here, like as per this plate tectonics theory, as per this plate tectonics, here you can that we could have a three ways which either of plate, oceanic, continental, will going to interact with you. And as a result of that interaction, what result there would be, what result would be visible on Earth crust. So here you can see that when the two plates are moving towards each other, that will be known as what? Convergent boundary. Plates are moving towards each other. That will be known as what? Convergent plate boundary. Why they are moving towards each other? It is because of the influence. It is because of the influence of mental convectional current. So this mental convectional current led to the plates towards each. Similarly, we could have a mental convectional current. They are actually arranged in a way they are putting conveyor belt or conveyor belt effect first, that led to the horizontal descent. That means what? That these two plates, whether it is oceanic, continental, or either of them, they are moving away from each other. So when we have a movement which is moving away from each other, that will be known as divergent plate boundary. What? Divergent plate. Similarly, here what we can say that we have a another convectional current in this, and yes, there is a divergence on one end, and yes, there is a convergence on another end. And as a result of convergence, whenever we have a continental and oceanic convergence, that will lead to the formation of trenches which we used to see on our Earth's surface. Similarly, when the oceanic plate would going to subduct beneath the continental plate, why is that? So I told you, because this plate is here, as it is here, it will going to subduct below the continental one. So it's because of the mental currents which are operating, so it led the convergence of these plates. Density difference is there. Hope you remember there is a basaltic rock, there is a granitic rock in the continental plates, there is a basaltic rocks in the oceanic. Heavy, its density is greater, it is lighter, its density is less. So more the density, more the gravity impact would be there, more the gravity that would to subduct beneath continental plate. So as a result of this, when this oceanic plate would go to subduct beneath the continent, that will emplacement of lava, and we would have a formation of volcanoes. Similarly, we will see that on the margin of continental side, there has been a folding because of the force which has been exerted by the oceanic plate, and as a result of this force, you will see that this continental plate will going to fold, and yes, you will fold mountains. on the continental crust part. Wherever similarly you will see the trenches part, or the part where the oceanic are actually interacting with each other. Yes, we could have a continental plates which are moving away from each other. Okay, have a same thing. So like, technically what we can say that we could have a two set of movement as of now, like two plates can move towards each other or two plates can move away from each other. So move towards each other, that means convergent. Move away from each other, convergence. Then similarly we could have a two plates which are interacting without, I mean, like interacting without a kind of, convergence or divergence. They might interact like this. They might have some sort of parallel movement when the two plates are moving parallel towards each other. As a result of this parallel interaction, that will be termed as transform plate boundary movement. When either of plates, whether there is whether or let's say it could be oceanic, it could be oceanic, continental, or either of them. So when they are interacting in this way, like they are moving parallel to each other, so when we this kind of interaction, that will be as transform plate boundary movement. So we have a transform plate boundary movement. So technically we have a three set of movement in which there could be a interaction among the plates: convergence, divergence, and transform plate boundary movement. Moving ahead. So like this movement in lithospheric slabs, and we are counting both continental as well as ocean. This was the theory which actually took some sort of aspect from Wagner to MC seafloor spreading theory in order to justify that not only continental plates are mobile but the oceanic plates are also mobile and culminate together. So when all of these were assimilated, the previous theories were assimilated, we have tectonics. So when have a two plates moving towards each other, that is the convergent plate. Hope you remember when this continental plate and this oceanic plate move towards each other primarily because of the mental currents. So they move towards each. So when they move, this oceanic plate will subduct beneath the continental plate because it is more denser. When it will going to subduct, so here what is happening? Like there will be an emplacement, and yes, we can see there will be a volcanoes on continental part. So here in this case, this part is actually being referred as subduction zone. It's actually being categorized as subduction here, the part of oceanic crust which actually lies beneath the continental one and ionosphere, that will be termed as what? Subduction. And as a result of subduction, what we can say that there is emplacement of lava on the surface. So here in this entire case, what is actually happening? There is a destruction of oceanic plate. The oceanic plate is getting lesser. The oceanic plate is destroyed here. As the oceanic plate is destroyed here, they used to say this convergence plate boundary movement as destructive in its nature. It is destructive in its nature. Wherever you see convergence, that means what? That means it is destroying. When the two plates are moving towards each other, that will lead to the destruction of crust, that will lead to the destruction of oceanic crust, specifically if we have a continental and oceanic interaction only then. So if we have a divergent plate boundary movement, means when two plates are moving away from each other as a result of mental current or the effect, because of that, what would happen? Addition in the crust. How mid-oceanic? Just take an example of mid-oceanic, which we have discussed in floor spreading theory. So suppose we have a oceanic plate in this way. Okay, and yes, we have a oceanic plate in this, and yes, the many currents which are operating, they are actually moving in this way. Is because of these, because of this divergence, what will happen, this plate will, move away from this one. I mean, this plate 2 will move away from plate 1. The cavity will be there, that will be lava, which then further there will be a lateral movement, further there will be a cavity that will going to fill by the magma, which is, so here this gap is actually being filled by the rising magma, rising lava, you can say. So here there is a addition in the crust, and as there is a addition in the crust, we are telling this thing as a constructive formation of crust. Here there was a destruction of crust, subduction. Here there is a formation of crust. New crust is actually, that's why in spreading theory, hope you remember that the new plates, or let's say the new, you can say, rocks were actually being found on the near to the, here you have that it's because of the placement of, or you can say divergence of oceanic plate. The cavity was filled by the magma, solidify. Further, there was a movement that was further solidified by magma was there. So because of this, what was new crust was actually, so wherever you see divergence boundary movement, specifically with respect to divergence, that will ultimately lead to the creation of, that will lead to the formation of crust, formation of new crust specifically. So wherever you see constructive plate margin, that will be called as what? Divergent plate. Again, convergent destruction, divergence creation. We have a transform plate boundary movement when two plates are parallel to each other. Like we will have some sort of, here we have a conservation. Okay, like neither the plate destroy nor it will. This set, this transform plate boundary movement is also being known as, conservation, conservative plate boundary movement, as conservative movement, two plates parallel to